I've always been a huge fan of Walter Hill films. For some reason or other, I've always kind of shied away from Geronimo, which is number 220 in the Indicator series. And I finally got round to sitting down and watching this one and found it a somewhat enjoyable film. It's not perfect, but it's got some great performances from some fantastic actors and a really kind of interesting story. Set in a time where the American government and army are starting to rehome a lot of Native Americans, putting them into reservations, which is pretty much akin to an open prison, taking their land and freedoms and kind of breaking down their culture a little bit along the way. One person who's standing up against this is Geronimo, played by Wes Studi, who is awesome in this role, and he is somewhat struggling to cope with the situation. He wants to fight back, he wants to be with his people, he just doesn't like the way that the government are going about it. That's where we get Lieutenant Charles Gatewood, played by Jason Patric, who comes into this film as someone who has an affinity with the Native Americans, learn their language, their cultures, can talk to them, relate to them, and he is brought in to try and get Geronimo to bring him back into the reservation willingly. The first half of the movie kind of goes like that. We see all of this through the eyes of Matt Damon's character, Lieutenant Britton Davis. This young man, who's his first real mission, and he kind of watches as Gatewood tracks down Geronimo, talks to him and brings him back to the reservations to live out his land. We've got other great actors. We've got Gene Hackman as a kind of general. We've got Robert Duvall as a kind of bounty hunter, an aging one who has a grudge against Geronimo but is willing to sort of live by the law. And they get him back to the reservation, everything's going fine, but then they start taking away their cultural practices with the medicine man, who they deem is trying to start an uprising. And the way they brutalise and try to subjugate these people actually causes an uprising, and Geronimo goes on the warpath, killing as many people as he can, getting his band of men together and fighting back against the army. It's all about these hard men in hard times making these tough judgments and how they rationalise them. People torn between loyalty and morality of what they should do, which is what we see a lot in Gatewood's character. He does not agree with the army, but he has a job to do and he is loyal to that. But at the same time, he morally knows what they're doing is wrong. And you get these sort of brown and golden landscapes, wide open vistas, which are kind of punctuated with horrors throughout it. The brutalisation of certain people, as we meet a lot of kind of characters along the way that are just horrible people.
You boys are out of uniform. Maybe he ought to wear one. Somebody down here took that scalp of his. Make themselves a little money.
People who are taking advantage of situations for financial gain. And what I think about this one is it's good, but for a movie that's on Geronimo, we focus more on the American lieutenant who's trying to track him down. We do see aspects of Geronimo, but for the longest period of time he disappears from the film, and it's a great performance, and the movie is all about this character. I felt as if we should have spent more time getting to know him rather than his interactions with the American counterparts. Jason Patric, Gene Hackman, Robert Duvall, Matt Damon are all excellent in their roles, and it just feels a movie that is kind of lacking a little bit of substance. It hits all the points that it wants to, but it just doesn't hammer home the thematics that it has, and it just kind of leaves you wanting a little bit more. It's an interesting tale, and it does have some good moments of action, some good moments of tense horror, of drama, but it doesn't feel like a cohesive whole. I enjoyed this one, but it was short of being the usual great that I expect from Walter Hill. I would love to know your thoughts on this movie. If you think it kind of works together, if you think it's short a little bit, would you like to see more of Geronimo? Because that's what I feel as if the story should have focused on, with the title, with the character, with the story, an American legend. I suppose it is a legend written by the victors, who did turn out to be the army in this one. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment box below, whether you loved it, hated it, fell somewhere in the middle. I can't wait to read your comments. As always, there is more content up here. If you want to see no more of my stuff, hit this video with a like, because it helps these videos. And in the description box below are links to the Patreon membership program, manvfilm.com.